Hello and welcome back to your favorite podcast, Dear Diary. And today we are talking about standards and the reality of having standards in relationships and social settings. I think this is such an important topic because most people they say that they have standards, but when they are being put in a certain social settings, a certain situations, they are willing to set the bar lower and they are willing to settle for less. If you're one of those persons, like I used to be one of those persons, then this episode is for you. Okay, and if you say, well, I don't know if my standards are too low, or I don't know if I'm just being too dramatic. Okay, so we are going through some examples of having low standards. So you could differentiate between having low standards and being overly dramatic in certain situations. Okay, so first, in social or friend group situations, first and always is settling for flaky friends. I used to be that girl. My friends weren't nice. They didn't have the same ambitions. They didn't have the same mindset as me. They weren't looking to a specific goals as I was, but I kept hanging out with them because I thought like, okay, people are different, right? But the thing is, when they when I'm not in sync with them and their behavior, for example, I'm a morning person and I love to like a morning run and I love to like live a healthy lifestyle. But my friends, they are living a very unhealthy lifestyle with a very like different mindsets from mine. And if I hang out in that group and I keep making up excuses like everyone has different life purposes, have different needs, etc., then they are the one who's gonna drag me down. And always settling for flaky friends also means keep hanging out with people who constantly do you dirty. For example, cancel last minute, show up late, never initiate plans. You have to always chase them. In a friendship, if you play the role of a person who always gonna initiate plan, the other person is gonna play the other role. If you play the role of A, then another person, your friend, is gonna play the role of the opposite role. So, you shouldn't settle for someone who always cancel last minute, show up late, who always do you dirty, or who doesn't have the same ambitions, the same lifestyle as you because they will drag you down. And if you want to receive a special treatment from them, I think the best thing you should do is never been too exposed and to be a little laid back, which we are going to dive in the next part right away. After this, we're going to dive in how to receive the treatment that you want. Okay, so another example of having low standards in social and friend group situations is accepting disrespect as jokes. If you are sitting in a room and someone make a joke that you don't like and you feel disrespected when they make that joke and then you didn't say it out and then you was like you were in a very awkward situation. You didn't say it out, you was like, okay, you know what, that's and you laugh it off. It's letting your friends make mean comments or like teasing you. and you actually feel hurt by it, but you brush it off instead of addressing it. If there's one thing about people, is that they are gonna treat you how you show them that you want to be treated. If they made a joke one time and you don't like it and you say, hey, that was not nice, that was too far and I don't like it, you should stop. Then they are gonna see it and they are gonna treat you different the next time. They're gonna not gonna make jokes like that anymore because you showed them that you don't like. But if you let them or if you laugh it off, then they're gonna be like, okay, well, she'll let us talk about her like that. She'll let us joke about her like that. And they're not gonna respect you anymore. And the next example in social and friend group situations is being okay with one-sided effort. As I talked about, as I have talked about, always be the one to text first, always be the one to initiate the hangouts or check in emotionally, while the other person never reciprocates. In friendship, everything is mutual, and if you are okay with one-sided effort, you need to reflect on your own standards. And I'll say it again, the best thing to do is just lay back a little bit, you know. That doesn't mean that you don't initiate plans, but that means that you initiate plans, but you also let that person initiate plans too, which I'm going to talk about later. Okay, so in relationships and dating, there are three very obvious examples of having low standards. Is first, being impressed by bare minimum. I don't think that being impressed by the bare minimum is your fault because you grew up in an environment where you are interacting with bare minimums and you thought that was, you were taught that bare minimums are princess treatment. So I think it's not your fault that you are impressed by bare minimum. But I think that you can turn this around. Being impressed by bare minimum, for example, thinking that it's amazing when someone texts good morning. But or like being thinking it's amazing when someone holds the door for you. And you are too focused on the bare minimum that you overlook the fact that they don't show real consistency, respect, or care. For example, they texted you good morning once, and then you focus on that, and then you like ignore the part where they ignore you in a in a first meeting where they like acted like they don't hear you. You ignored the red flags because you're too focused on the bare minimum and thinking that that is the princess treatment, which is a very dangerous thing. Second is tolerating bad manners. Staying with someone who is rude to the waiters, interrupts constantly, or doesn't introduce you properly in social settings. I think that this is like because he could treat you like a princess, but if he doesn't treat everyone like a gentleman, then baby, he's not for you because a gentleman is a gentleman to everyone. A gentleman say hello and sorry to the waiter. A gentleman sees someone and a gentleman helps that person who's in trouble. A gentleman see a friend getting in trouble for the things that they didn't do, then a gentleman helps her or him. If he is a gentleman, then he's gonna be kind when you're not there. He's gonna be kind with everyone, include you. But if he's only be kind to you and you thought that, okay, he's a cold-hearted person on the outside, but a warm-hearted person on the inside, you're so fucking wrong because he's just playing bullshit. If a man is so kind to you, but acts like bullshit to the world and always toxic when talking to others, then you need to reflect and think about your decision again. Because that is letting red flags slide. Okay? That is very dangerous, and I think that you should pay more attention to it if you are in that kind of situation. Okay, so we're gonna talk about how to actually have standards, since everyone has standards. But when people are in social settings, or when like they're forming friendships, they tend to settle for less, like I was in the past. I'm cringing just talking about that. Okay, so first, for example, if you are this is the first day of high school and you are a freshman, right? And you see a very cute guy and you want to talk to him. You want to okay, maybe be his friend, or you see a very pretty girl and you want to be her friend. But then when you have his or her social, you immediately see that that's not the vibe you're looking for. But because you need friends and you still want to hang out with him or her, that's having low standards. That's settle for less. So the first advice is run, don't walk when you see someone who's not vibing with you, who's not vibrating at the same frequency as you. If you see someone, if you talk to someone that doesn't have the same mindset, that doesn't have the same goals, that doesn't be as ambitions, that isn't as ambitious as you, that doesn't have like a similar lifestyles to you, that doesn't want, like, he or she is not looking forward to greater things, then I think you should run. Don't walk from them, run. Because if you stay there, you are going to end up convincing yourself that, okay, they're not that bad. Maybe people all have differences. Guess what? If you are in a group of 4 millionaires, you're going to be the 5th. If you're in a group of 4 dumb teenagers, you're going to be the 5th. So run, don't walk. And it also applies with people who doesn't have proper manners. For example, you are a person with high standards and you expect the males, you expect every single males you meet to hold the door, to help you when, like, for example, you drop a cake and they're gonna be like, and they're gonna run to help you. You expect males to help you. You expect male to act like a gentleman. You expect males to hold the door. And when you come to a formal event, it's the first day at school, and you saw a guy and you talk to him and you think, oh my gosh, he's very interesting. But he cut you off middle sentence. You guys were in an elevator and he went out fast without even care. Where are you? He didn't hold the door. And he's always rude to other people, but not rude to certain people. And you were like, okay, maybe not everyone is a gentleman. And you continue to talk to them. Oh my gosh, run, don't walk. Because you have standards. You have specific standards for male that you interact with, right? So if you see someone that doesn't fit your standards, then run away. Run away from them because there are plenty of other fish in the sea. And you don't have to interact. You don't have to be close. You don't have to be friends with people who doesn't fit your standards because your friends determined who you are. Okay, and like I've mentioned before, the being okay with one-sided effort is a thing that makes us feel so exhausted in a friendship. So, how to actually fix it? Like I say, in a friendship, if you are the one who always takes first, then the other person won't. Trust me, they won't unless they want to ask you or unless they want you to do them something. And if you're the one who always plan the hangouts, then your friend will not. She or he will not. Unless he or she wants to go somewhere and he or she wants you to go with because he or she is feeling lonely. Then he or she's gonna ask you. But that's your friend using you. It's not, he or she is not asking you to go with them because they want to spend time together, because they want to, like, they actually care about you and they actually care about you wanting to have fun because they know that you will agree with whatever plan they make. And they ask you because they feel lonely. And if you don't go, here's how to know if they are asking you because they want to go with you or they just feeling lonely. If you refuse, then they're gonna ask another. They're gonna be like, okay, sure, I'm just gonna ask it another. Then they are asking you to go with them because they are feeling lonely and they know that you'll go. And when you refuse, they have plenty of other fish in the sea to replace you. And trust me, those type of friends, when they are bored of you, oh, bad things are gonna happen. So, I think the best thing if you want the efforts to be mutual in friendship is to be a little laid back. You stop being the one who always planning things, who always texting fast. No, I think you should be laid back a bit. Maybe like 1 week. Maybe you take like 1 week off and not texting them fast to see how it goes. And if they didn't text you, if what happened is that if you don't text fast, then they won't text you. And then they weren't texting you anymore, then they're not the friend with you. Okay, and if you don't text fast and they ask what's wrong, and you're gonna say it. Like, I think the efforts has to be mutual, and I'm dealing with some shits or I'm having some business, so I gotta like take a little bit time off, etc., etc. So that's my advice for it. Okay, so that's all for today. That's all for this episode, standards and the reality of having standards in relationships and social settings. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and you can find this podcast on Spotify, Dear Diary by Elle, or on YouTube, Dear Diary by Eleanor. Thank you so much and have a good day, have a good morning, have a good evening. And I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you for staying tuned and I love you. See you in the next episode.